Welcome to Afterthoughts with Erica. My name is Erica O'Meara, and as I begin my journey to becoming an end-of-life doula, I'm challenging myself to talk to 100 people about death, dying, and what comes next. Join me as we explore these stories and work together to make the topic of death less uncomfortable, one conversation at a time. Afterthoughts with Erica is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are solely of the speakers and do not represent legal, medical, or financial advice. This series does not supersede any written last will and testament, legal documents, or directives. Please note that this series may contain adult subject matter and with strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Afterthoughts with Erica. My name is Erica, and today I have a very special guest. It's my girlfriend, Deb. We've known each other for over 20 years. She is recently retired. She was in healthcare and healthcare sales. She's a paramedic, originally from San Francisco, but she's in Chester County, Pennsylvania for about 30 years now. She is a wife, a mother, and a dog lover, and I love her dog. And we just recently got back from Europe together. We took an 8-day trip to Europe together. So hello, Deb.
Hey, Erica, how's it going?
How are you?
Good, I'm good.
Are you ready to answer the questions?
Sure, fire away.
All right, let's get right into it. Are you afraid of dying?
I'm more afraid of missing out all the things that I would be able to witness if I were still above ground. I guess if I think about dying, that's what I think about. I think about, how would my kid be? Would I miss, if I die too early, am I going to miss his wedding? Will I miss grandchildren? How about my husband? How will he be? So for me personally, provided it's not, some sort of horrific death or something, I'm not really afraid of dying. I'm more afraid of how everybody else that I know and love, especially my son and my husband, will be after I'm gone and what I'm going to miss out on. So I think that's the big thing for me. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very Virgo answer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe do you feel the same way?
I do. I feel the exact same way. It's like, it's not exactly a control thing, but it is because it's not under our control ever, and that's difficult to digest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just want to see the wedding. I want to see the
exactly. Weddings, baptisms, we want to see it all.
Yeah, all that stuff. I just hate to miss out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a death in your past that changed the way that you view death and dying?
Well, I guess if I think back, the first time someone in my life that I loved died, I was 18 years old, and it was my grandpa. And he died suddenly at a massive heart attack, and he was dead the same day. And I remember being in the house a couple days after he died and thinking that he was still there, that he was still in the other room. I could smell his Eric cigars. I could kind of feel his presence. And it felt a little creepy to me, to be honest, that first experience that the house was haunted rather than, I was just remembering him. And then, so that was my grandpa. And then when his wife died, my grandma died, probably 15 years later. What I realized was that feeling of having somebody else around wasn't being haunted. It was my no separation from their presence in my life. I still felt that, especially with my grandma, who I loved a whole lot, that she was always around me. And so I recognized that as we don't really, our bodies leave this space, but we leave ourselves behind in the memories of other people and in the hearts of other people. And that's when I kind of developed that idea that I've hung on to since I've been in my 20s, that nobody really dies. They just, they just lose their physical presence, but they live on in our hearts.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. So on that same vein, do you believe in the afterlife?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not dead. So it's kind of hard to say. I guess I would say that I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't think God is all that dogmatic. And I think in all of us, there's good things and bad things. I can be a jerk. Everybody can be a jerk. And then we can also be wonderful people. So how would a God ever decide who goes to heaven and who goes to hell? So I don't believe in that for sure. Whether or not we come back, I guess I lean more towards thinking that the things that I do in my life now that are good for other people and where I learn lessons that I needed to learn, maybe I didn't learn before, that brings me back maybe in a different form, although I don't know. There's this great song by a woman by the name of Iris DeMint called Let the Mystery Be. So she says that everybody's wondering what and where we all come from. Everybody's worrying about what we're going to do when the whole thing's done, but no one knows for certain. So it's all the same to me. I choose to let the mystery be. So I think that's where I fall on that, you know? So I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I'm dead. If I get the chance to come back, I'd love to be like an eagle soaring up in the air and flying over fantastic places. I'm kind of afraid of heights, so it'd be cool if I came back in an animal form that wasn't afraid of heights. I think that would be kind of awesome. Yeah, I don't believe in the afterlife. I don't know. I'm not sure. So who knows?
I like that song lyric. I'm gonna have to look that up. I like that.
Iris DeMint.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs. Everybody's coming back in the garden, a bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. I like that too. It's just that kind of jives with me in terms of an afterlife, because I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows. We like to think that we know because I think it gives people peace if they know what's going to happen to them after they're dead. And that, since I don't know, it doesn't give me peace spending a whole lot of time thinking about it, honestly, because I don't know. I'll see when I get there, I suppose. It's how I travel kind of too. I'll see when I get there, you know.
I do know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you had an ideal death, what would that look like?
Without any drama, without any trauma, it'd be great if I'm at home and I just die peacefully in my sleep. That would be the way I would want to go out. Certainly don't want to die in a hospital with a bunch of tubes attached to me. I don't want to die from something, some kind of violent death, being shot, decapitated, anything horrific. I'd rather go intact, just sort of fading out, and hopefully that dying in my sleep isn't after some long protracted illness, because I wouldn't want that either, to suffer for years. And yeah.
And I think that also might stem from your paramedic background too. You've seen a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of dead people.
Yeah.
Worked on dead people.
It's a different perspective, it's a totally different perspective.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
If you could bring one thing with you in death, what would it be?
And nothing. I mean, I would hope more for what I would leave behind for the people who don't have me in their life anymore. I would hope more for that, but to bring something in death, I mean, I'm dead. I don't know what that means. And will I need anything with me? Who knows? So yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun question because there's been so many different answers to it.
I'll bet.
We've had intrinsic, we've had material, we've had I don't knows. There's so many different answers to that question. It's been fun.
Yeah, I thought my first reaction to that question was I want to bring my son, but that's not right. I thought about that.
But that
for a
is
split
like
second longer and thought, well, that means he's dead too, and I wouldn't do that to him,
And you're not the only person who has that initial thought, like, I want to bring my family, I want to bring my dog, I want to bring, but then you realize what that means.
Right. Yeah, and what that does to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you want your funeral to go?
I don't want a funeral. I don't want anybody crying over how I'm dead and all that kind of stuff. I'd much rather have a celebration of life where they just get around, everybody comes around who knew me. Maybe they share their stories or not, but just, have some fun, have some wine, have some good food, eat a lot of chocolate, and just remember who I was, and then who else is left here now. How do you all connect to each other now? Because I'm kind of a connector in my life with my family, and it'd be nice in my absence if they do that without me. So I'd like that to happen at my celebration of life.
Yeah, and always wine. Yeah. Always wine.
Always.
What are some songs, if you were to have a celebration of life, what are some songs that would be on that playlist?
Well, I hope they'd be fun and upbeat because I hate these maudlin things where everybody's all sad and depressed. You know, there is one song that leans a little sad and depressed. That's called My Beloved Wife that I love by Natalie Merchant. And that's a guy talking about missing his wife. And that'd be nice if my husband felt that way about me, in some ways. But I'd rather have stuff like Queen. You know, when you and I traveled together, what was the name of that song? Don't Stop Me Now.
Yes.
Having a good time, having a ball. I'd rather it be on a positive, upbeat note than all this sad, stuff. People connecting, people having fun, and listening to some music that they all like. Yeah,
Yeah. Don't Stop Me Now is a great one.
I love that one too. Yeah, yeah.
What do you want done with your body after you die?
Well, for the longest time, I've been an organ donor. So that had always been my plan, to be an organ donor and torch the rest. But unfortunately, because of this genetic mutation I have, I can't do that. And I found that out fairly recently. So now, knowing that I can't be an organ donor, what I like to be is a crash test dummy.
Please elaborate.
Well, so there's this great book about bodies used after death and how they can be used. Brains can be preserved. They can be used by medical students to, take apart your body and look at your ligaments and all that kind of stuff. So all those parts can be used for science. So, but the idea of a crash test dummy sounds kind of cool. So what that is, it's a dead body that's strapped into a car, and they crash you into concrete blocks, and they see what that does to your body, what kind of damage you have to your body. And since I'm dead, I don't really care. And since I worked as a paramedic, I've picked up accidents. So, hey, I think that'd be cool. So if they can't use me as a crash test dummy, then hopefully I'm a cadaver in an anatomy lab or something. So that, the people who are the kids who are studying, and I worked on cadavers myself. So the people are trying to learn about anatomy and all that stuff, they can use me to further that. So that's what I like to do. And then they can torch the rest. Since I can't be an organ donor, I'd rather do that than anything else, but it's unfortunately not for me. So crash test dummy sounds great.
Crash test dummy is definitely a first for this program. And I appreciate that so much because not everybody knows that that's an option. And that's what this is all about, It's just like sharing the options.
Well, I don't know that you can, I don't have that on my driver's license. It's not something that I can will to, GM or Ford or something. But my husband knows that that's what I would like. So hopefully he can reach out, and before my body's falling apart and all that other stuff, use me. There's a book, The Curious Lives of, is it Curious Lives of Human Cadavers? Anyway, it talks about all that stuff, different ways your body can be used for scientific purposes. So
interesting.
That's what I want to do. Take it, use it, get something out of it, and then torch the rest.
That's great. So the next question is our fun question. If you could haunt somebody, and it could be naughty or nice, who would it be?
Yeah, see, I'm not so sure I buy into that whole haunting thing. So I just and I wouldn't want to be a malevolent kind of presence. I wouldn't want to make anybody scared or feel bad. Haunting for me sounds like a scary thing. Maybe I'm interpreting it through my own lens, and maybe if I had more of a sense of humor and all that, I might feel differently. But I guess I wouldn't want to haunt anybody, because my whole theory is I live on in people's hearts anyway. So I guess in some ways you could kind of say that's haunting too, perhaps. And like I described when my grandpa died, I thought he was really there. I thought that was a haunting, but I felt his spiritual presence, if I can borrow that term, although I'm not particularly spiritual, but I felt his spiritual presence rather than sort of, someone out to scare me or do me any kind of harm. I don't want to haunt anybody.
Yeah, but just your grandfather had that, the remnants of him remained like in your mind and in your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I want to live on. So if that's haunting, that's how I want to haunt people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last question is, what do you want people to remember you for after death?
Yeah, that's the one I didn't really get to, and I really didn't think about it all that much. So I'll kind of do this off the cuff. I hope that especially my family will remember me as a person who loved them and, paid attention to their needs, and that I was there to help them through life, especially my kid, particularly my child. And I hope my friends, you and, other friends that I'm lucky enough to have in my life, blessed with a bunch of great friends. I hope they'll remember that I just like to have fun. I like to travel. The best thing would be if a bunch of my friends decided they wanted to honor me and they take a big trip or something. Now that would be great, So if I'm remembered in that kind of way, just sort of being an adventurous person, liking to have fun, enjoying being around people and being, very much a family person and caring about the people in my life, my sister, my mother, my husband, my son, the cousins that I'm close to. You heard that story. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. So, I hope they just remember me as having an adventurous spirit and having some, a desire to live and to experience all the time and all the fortunate situations I have in my life, and that I had a good time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I am more than happy to organize a Debbie Memorial celebration trip.
Perfect. Since you're so much younger than me, you're going to outlive me. So that's awesome.
I'm going to get in touch with your family to grab your points.
Good. Do it, man. That'd be awesome. That'd be really great. And then I'll come back and haunt you if I don't like where you went.
That's right. Well, I would have to think about that. That would have to be a really special destination. It would definitely be more than one destination. We would be traveling, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thanks for offering that up. That's great.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I super appreciate it. And I know that your answers today are going to help somebody, with whatever, contemplating death, understanding options, all that kind of stuff. Everything that we discuss on here is helping somebody. And that's the whole point.
Yeah. Well, it's nice for you to open up the conversation because a lot of people don't like to talk about this topic out of fear. So it's good to bring it into the light instead of keeping it in the dark and having serious conversations, but also having some fun with it too.
Yeah. I promise people when they're a little bit anxious about coming on, I promise them we'll have at least one laugh.
Yeah. Great.
So I will see you later. Thank you so much. And it was good seeing you.
You too, Erica. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Trigger warning, this episode features talks of suicide. Please take care while listening. To be part of this important conversation. Let's continue breaking the silence together. See you next time.